Welcome to the Athlete Brand Advisor Podcast, featuring interviews and news about NIL. We also have special episodes to talk about recent news, events, and anything in the world of sports. The podcast is brought to you by Pliable, a full-service marketing company, an NIL agency that educates and empowers athletes to build their athlete brand. Now, here's your host, Glynn.
Thanks, and welcome to the Athlete Brand Advisor Podcast. In this episode, we're talking about what it takes to be a great coach. Obviously, a lot of athletes make that transition from being an athlete to being a coach. So we have the right man here today. His name is Matt Rogers. He is the author of The Recipe for Being a Great Coach. And Matt was a three-sport athlete from Portland, Maine, played basketball at Bowdoin College, where he set multiple hitting records, and also had a baseball career as well. And he has been coaching for 30 years. He is currently the hitting coach for Bowdoin College. He was inducted into the Maine Baseball Hall of Fame in 2021 and recently had his book published, The Recipe for Being a Great Coach. It's more than wins and losses. You played baseball and basketball. You had a lot of wins and losses, I'm sure, in your day, Matt. Welcome to the Athlete Brand Advisor Podcast.
Greg, thank you very much. It's a true honor to be here, to be with you. And I know how much good you do in the world and for others. So it's a true honor to be with you. Thank you.
No, absolutely, Matt. Excited to talk about how this book came to be. So let's start first with your athlete story, as I like to say, and kind of how you built your athlete brand and then turned it into a book.
Yeah, I grew up. I'm the youngest of 7 kids. There was a lot of teammates right as soon as I came into the world. I had teammates as siblings right there, and we had a garage full of old hand-me-down everything, and we played everything. I made up games. I played baseball, basketball, football, pond hockey. My sisters would be playing tennis. I might go over and hit the ball, but every now and then I'd get a little bored and I'd decide it was baseball and I'd whack it over the fence, but they were always good sports. But so we were always playing something in the backyard, wherever it may have been. And so that's where it was formed. But I was also very fortunate not only to have those siblings, but a mom and a dad who to this day remain my heroes. They've both since passed, but they were the most selfless, giving people I to this day have ever met. And they always emphasized the right things, which was, it was faith, it was family, it was education, and then sports, and really just doing your best and being the best you. And they made sure that we knew they were proud of us for who we were, not so much what we accomplished.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then obviously you went on to have a great college career at Bowdoin. Why don't you talk about Bowdoin a little bit and kind of the Division III level and, what you were doing there and how you approached your college career?
Yeah, I was, again, very fortunate to play a lot of sports, and I played basketball and baseball in high school. I was recruited by Dartmouth, BC, and Bowdoin for baseball. And my whole family went to Bowdoin. My dad went to Bowdoin. My siblings went to Bowdoin. So I had a lot of familiarity there. Having said that, I wasn't, saying that I was just going to go to Bowdoin. I did look at the other ones and gave it a lot of thought. I still wanted to play basketball too, and I wasn't good enough in basketball to play basketball and baseball at the other schools. So after a lot of thinking, I applied early to Bowdoin. I ended up getting in, and that was that. So I went to Bowdoin. I liked the fact that it was a smaller school and gave me an opportunity to play both sports at Bowdoin, and a lot of great stories there. Some people don't even know, to be honest with you, and I don't even think I wrote about it in the book. But I was very excited to play college sports, and I didn't really care the level, and I give a lot of lessons to kids now, and I try to impart this to them and their parents. I don't think it really matters what level you play. I think the important thing is finding the right fit for you. And I was very glad to have chosen Bowdoin. Having said that, I went there, and again, I had a lot of great teammates over the years. We were coming off 5 straight state championships between Babe Ruth and Legion Ball, and going to regional tournaments and sniffing World Series and all this. And I was like, oh my God, now I finally get to play college baseball. And I got to Bowdoin. I actually got there a little bit late because of one of the regional tournaments we were in. So I missed orientation. So I tell people all the time I was disoriented in college because I missed orientation. But we had a fall workout, and I don't mean any disrespect, but the level of play wasn't what I thought. And it wasn't even so much the level of play, it was the lack of care. It didn't really seem like it wasn't what I thought it was going to be playing college baseball. And when our actual season got into it, I had that same feeling, and we weren't having a lot of success, and we weren't winning. And that was hard because I was blessed. I'd never played on a losing team in my life. But the thing that made it worse was it seemed like the culture was accepted, and that didn't sit well with me either. And the part that I don't think I've shared with many people is I filled out a transfer form to BC. When I went back to my dorm and I was doing homework, and I filled it out and I put it at my desk, and I never sent it. I just felt like, I don't know if I felt like that was quitting or what, but I wanted to stick it out. And I'm glad we did, because we had 9 freshmen on the team that year, and we had a losing record. And I think 7 of us stayed with the program for 4 years, and every year we got better. And the things that I'm most proud about, you mentioned the personal ones, and that's fine, but the fact that our team got better every year, and then my senior year, we had the best record in school history at that point, most wins, best winning percentage, and we turned the program around. So that was very rewarding for me.
Right. Wow, that's quite a story. And you recognized early on, it's great to hear you talk about this feeling you had, right? And how you wanted to try to change the culture. And it's almost like I can see these visions for you of becoming a coach, like right there on the spot, knowing, what was going on, and you were absorbing it differently probably than other athletes. And why don't you talk about kind of then what happened in your coaching career, how that started to come out?
Yeah, actually, I started as a coach, believe it or not, when I was in high school, because I went to Cheverus High School, and one of my summer jobs was a camp counselor and coach at Cheverus High School. They used to have a clinic every year, and it would run for, I think it was 6 weeks, and you got to teach a certain skill like during the morning, and then you got your own team you got to coach. So I got to coach in high school, and then when I was at Bowdoin during one of my off seasons, I actually coached soccer at Brunswick Junior High School. And so I definitely enjoyed working with others and trying to instill those, work ethic and team and selflessness and all of that stuff. So that was always in there. And then as soon as I graduated, I did work for a short period in Boston in the financial world. And then when I moved back to Maine, I was an assistant coach at Deering High School with one of my friends and teammates, Mike DeAndrea, who asked me to be on his staff. And I worked with them for 4 years, and we won 3 state championships, not because of me, because of Mike and the players, but it was great to just be a part of that. And as soon as I sniffed that, I stayed in it. I've coached basketball at Cheverus as well. I've coached from Little League to teenagers to high school and now college.
Do you have a favorite sport that you like to coach, or is there a favorite, maybe even age group you like to coach?
I would say sport, definitely baseball and basketball, and for different reasons. Basketball, I feel like you can prepare a lot in practice, but then make in-game adjustments. Baseball is awesome, and obviously I love it because it's a sport of failure. So I feel like there's more psychology in baseball that's needed. You really need to. You can't get down. You can't get too high. No team has ever played a perfect game. there have been pitchers that have pitched a perfect game, but the team wasn't perfect, or else they'd still be hitting, right? Guys
Mhm.
made outs.
Yeah.
So there's no one person that's perfect, other than I believe God, and I'm not him. Thankfully for many, and I don't think any athlete is perfect, and no team's perfect. So you have to deal with adversity, and that's where the coach comes in, is being able to not only sympathize but empathize. I know how hard sports are, mentally, physically, attitudinally, sometimes even spiritually, and to be able to be there and have players' backs is important. So with sports wise, basketball and baseball, age wise, there's I loved Little League because you're just starting to mold kids in so many ways, but I've always tried to teach life lessons through sports, whether I was teaching a 5 or 6 year old or now teaching 20, 21, 22-year old college players.
Yeah. Wow, that's really cool. So, where and when did you decide it was time to write the book, which is, of course, titled The Recipe for Being a Great Coach? It's More Than Wins and Losses.
I was writing it in my head literally for 25 years. I have a Word document that, for lack of a better term, you could call it a my own little diary. But I collect motivational sayings. If something happens, either good, bad, or indifferent, I might just put an entry in there. So I was formulating something for over 2 decades, and the title of the book was going to be called Bus Rides and Pizza Parties. It was going to be about sports, but about the real important things, which aren't really the hitting records and the wins and the titles. Those are great, but it's the ancillary things that you get from playing sports. It's the shared experiences, the friendships, the skills you develop, and the life lessons you learn that you carry with you. So I was writing it for a long time, and then what prompted me to actually start formulating it and taking it seriously was a dear friend of mine, Dave Eade, whom local sportscaster and a great friend and a great man. We meet, occasionally for coffee and just talk about life and kids and sports and all this. And he finally said to me, he goes, "Matt, you need to start a podcast or write your book." And I said, "Okay, I'll do that." So he put me in touch with a publisher. I had, organized some things, and I sent it to them. And to be honest with you, thought that they were going to say, I'm not interested, or this is rubbish or whatever. But they surprised me and said they really liked it and they wanted to pursue it. So.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I'm glad they did. And I'm glad you wrote the book because obviously working with a lot of athletes in the college and professional space and even in high school, they're looking for great coaches. And now with NIL, they can become coaches pretty quickly, whether it's an off-season, camp or clinic. And when I work with athletes to host these camps and clinics, I'm always looking at how they're developing their coaching, skill set and what kind of techniques are they using. Talk about why this book is great for really coaches of any sport or age.
I like to think it's great for current athletes, for current coaches or aspiring coaches. I think it's important even for parents to read it. So far, out of the books that have been purchased, a high percentage have been from corporate people. So you can apply this really to anyone doing anything, because the skills and the life lessons that are talked about, a lot of them are about being the best version of yourself first. And then if you're in a position, whether you're a coach or a parent or a charitable leader or a team leader in a business, you're trying to equip and inspire other people to be their best versions, and then maybe collectively be a best version of a team or a unit. So the book can be applied honestly to anyone at any level doing anything that wants to be their best.
Yeah, no, I think that's fantastic. And when you talk about kind of some of the things that go into this book, like being selfless, being positive, controlling what you can control, right? Like I talk about that all the time. What was maybe your favorite part about writing the book?
I think the fact that it's going to help others, it might sound cliche or corny, but I have a handful of very short list of ways that I live my life, and I apply them to my working world, my coaching world. And one of them is helping others, doing for others. And the fact that I do think that it can help someone. If someone reads this, and there are 22 chapters, and each chapter is either a skill or a life lesson that you learn. Maybe someone out there, and I know I don't as a coach. I'm still trying to be a great coach. I even write in there that I'm probably mediocre at best, and I'm trying to become a great coach. But these are things that someone might read this and check all 22 boxes, and they might come away going, great, I feel better about myself because I'm already doing it. Fantastic. Maybe they check 18 of them and go, there's 4 things I can work on. Maybe they check 11. Maybe they check 4. I don't know. Maybe an AD will read it and say, geez, I probably should hold, when we hire somebody, I should hold, hold them to a higher standard. As well as I do, Greg, you've been doing this, in different capacities, but you see the athletes, you see the coaches, you see professional athletes. That, like anything, there are good and bad financial advisors, good and bad teachers, good and bad doctors, lawyers, and coaches. I like to think most coaches have the best of intentions, but sometimes ego can get in the way. It needs to be about others. It needs to be, and this doesn't just go for coaching. When we leave the house in the morning, it can't just be about me. I have 2 hopes for humanity. One is that people are aware other people exist. The other one is that they might even care about the other people. And that's it, at the crux of it. That's what we're here to do, is to help others. So the book, the intention is to help people be the best they can be. And hopefully if they're in a position where they might even now branch it out and help others do that too, that's the goal.
Yeah, well, you certainly got some great endorsements. Mookie Betts, Jackie Bradley Jr., and obviously, with your baseball connections and your ties here to Maine, really have identified some really cool stories to tell in the book and obviously help others. And I like what you said about helping others, because it's important to mention that a portion of the proceeds go to the Maine Children's Cancer Program. And obviously, as people may know, with Pliable, that is definitely a passion of mine as well, dating back to Hannah Dukeman and Emma Eubank and what they did with their Cure Cancer cleats. So very much a story that I want to help get out to others and help others, just like you said. Let's talk about where they can find the book, Matt.
Yeah, it's available on Amazon. If they want to support the local publisher that published the book is Tower Publishing. It's www.towerpublishing.com. Those are the 2 areas. If someone's nearby and they know me, they can reach out to me, and I'm happy to hand deliver one. That will save you the tax and the shipping. And I even joke too. A lot of times they'll say, "Well, you sign the book. I'll even sign it for you if you want it devalued by 90%, but with my signature on it." But so you can get it at Amazon. You can get it at Tower Publishing, or reach out to me. I even wrote in the book. I give people my email address. It's M as in Matthew. It's M, the number 22, Rogers, ROGERS at AOL.com. Feel free to email me and give me your success stories, your challenges as a person or a coach. If you do read the book, I'd love to hear back from you what you think of it, sincerely. And I take constructive feedback well. Again, I'm a work in progress. So if you can help me, help me help you.
Well, I think it's fantastic. I love what you've done. Enjoy being able to see the impact you're going to have on others with this book. So thanks for writing it, and thanks for being on the podcast.
Greg, I appreciate it sincerely. You do so much for others. So having someone like you ask me to be here is a true honor. And thank you for all you do for others. And I wish everybody the best of luck in all of their endeavors. I know you do a lot for mental health too. There's so many challenges for everyone, especially kids these days, because the world's really hard on them. So I hope people are able to just be the best they can be and be proud of that and know that they're cared about and they're never alone.
That's good stuff. Perfect. Well, on that note, we appreciate everyone tuning into this episode of the Athlete Brand Advisor Podcast. I'm Greg Glynn. We're glad you could tune in. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Athlete Brand Advisor Podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes from today's episode and catch up on recent episodes at pliablemarketing.com. Be sure to follow at pliablemktg on social media to follow athletes who have NIL representation and work with Pliable. Have an idea for our podcast? We encourage you to share topics and guest ideas by emailing our production staff at info@pliablemarketing.com. We love hearing from our loyal listeners, so jump in and be part of the podcast because, well, that's how we roll.